At this distance on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, they all stand in the shadow of mile track Jack Sprague. And last week in Nazareth, he did it again.
Off turn 5 with a checkered flag. 6 of the last 7 mile track races go to Jack Sprague.
This week, the series returns to the Milwaukee Mile, where Sprague looks to duplicate his 1996 visit to Victory Lane. Can anyone knock off mile track Jack? Will it be Wisconsin's own Rich Bickle, the series point leader? Or can defending series champion Ron Hornaday get back on track? Will Mike Bliss break through for his first win of the year? Or can rookie Kenny Irwin continue his ride to the top? We'll see today as Mile Track Jack has another victory in his sights at the Milwaukee Mile. It is one of the most famous addresses in all of American motorsports, the Milwaukee Mile. And this weekend, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series comes calling for the 3rd time ever in the Milwaukee 200. For 94 years, races have been staged on this legendary flat 1-mile oval. And the competition on the NASCAR Truck Series, well, the numbers speak for themselves. Last year, 17 lead changes, along with 47 laps of caution. Yesterday, when qualifying was done, we'd seen a new track record set. And the man on the pole, well, it's no surprise at all. Here's Mike Joy.
He'd only won 2 of these when I started calling him Mile Track Jack, but now, Jack Sprague, you've won 6 of the last 7 1-mile races. Aside from you and a talented crew, handling or horsepower, which is more important to get you to victory lane here?
Well, first you got to handle to be able to use the horsepower, and the Quaker State Chevy team's done an awesome job again. Same truck we brought here last year and won with, and Dennis and the guys have done a great job, and we were awful good in the last practice, but it's a little warmer today, so I really don't know what we're going to be dealt, but we can work on it during the race and hopefully get this Quaker State Chevrolet back in victory lane.
He's calm, collected, and ready to go. Now, right alongside in the front row, they both broke the track record. The fellow from Wisconsin has had the point lead since race number 4, Cheesehead Rich Bickle. You're having a lot of fun with this team this year, 2 wins, and how about it here today on your home track?
Well, I'll tell you, coming back here with a DieHard truck and being home, leading the points is great. But if we can win this race, we're going to have a heck of a party in Milwaukee tonight.
I don't think NASCAR will approve this helmet, so we'll let him get his real one on and get ready to go to work. Let's move back just 1 row to the editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine, Dick Berggren.
Mike Wallace is an auto racing veteran. He has won 6 times in ARCA competition, 3 times in Grand National competition. One of those wins is right here at Milwaukee. But he's new to trucks. So new, this uniform he's wearing today, he had to borrow it from the team fueler. But he's done a great job qualifying. 4th spot he'll go off, and that's the best qualifying run this team has had all year. Mike, how do you follow through?
Well, we just got a couple races, Dick, we're going to run today. First of all, I'm thrilled for the Pure Later Pure 1 team that we qualified 4th here. You know, this is going to be a gas stop race under green, so we're going to race their first 15, 20 laps. You know, see how that goes. Then race to the halfway point. After the halfway point, we have a 2nd race. Kenny Schrader called this morning from Daytona, said, great job, guys. Bring it home in the top 10. I kind of want to finish in the top 5 myself.
And with that, let's welcome the newest member of the CBS race broadcast team, Eli Gold.
Dick, thank you very much. Welcome to Milwaukee, everyone. Hope you're having a great July 4th weekend. This is the start of a NASCAR doubleheader weekend here on CBS. Today, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Tomorrow, the Milwaukee 250 for the NASCAR Busch Grand National Tour. 2-time Winston Cup champion Ned Jarrett is alongside here this afternoon. And Ned, even though this is just the 3rd time this series has run Milwaukee, this is not a foreign track for many of these drivers.
No, it isn't, Eli, and that's good news for those who have run here before, because laps on any racetrack are very, very important, especially on a tough racetrack like this 1 mile. No less than 16 of the 34 starters here today are starting their very first truck race on this racetrack. But 9 of those 16 do have past experience in various forms of competition here, some of that winning experience, and that should work in their favor here today.
Now, who should we watch in addition to the front row? How about guys like Ron Hornaday Jr.? He's been here twice. He's finished 3rd 2 times, but he's bothered by a rib and cartilage injury suffered last week in Nazareth. He's got Steve Park from the Busch Series standing by in relief if necessary.
Mike Bliss has run strong all year long, but hasn't been in victory lane. Had a good truck, but didn't qualify too well. Look for him to come up through the pack.
Jay Sauter is a favorite up here from Neceto, Wisconsin. He's run here better than 15 times. He's never picked up a victory here. He has won in a truck already this season in New Hampshire. Maybe he'll back it up here this afternoon.
Joe Rutman was one of the fastest drivers in practice, but he too slipped a little bit in qualifying. He has a lot of laps on this racetrack, so I look for him to do well here today.
So those are some of the personalities in the race, but how about the racetrack itself? Earlier today, Buddy Baker went trackside with these observations.
The Milwaukee Mile. That's what racing's all about. It's a great racetrack. It's 9 degrees of banking in the corner, 2 degrees of banking down the front straightaway. Let me tell you, I question that. As you can see, this basketball, it's going nowhere. On most racetracks, this ball would go right out of sight down the hill. Very flat here, but the racing is great. 3 wide down the front straightaway. Through the corners, you have to single file. Boy, the racing's great. Look for a lot of lead changes today and great competition.
Now let's take a look at the starting grid for today's Milwaukee 200. There's Mile Track Jack on the pole and the series point leader, Rich Bickle. Jay Sauter, the New Hampshire winner, alongside Mike Wallace, the new driver in Kenny Schrader's truck. Ron Hornaday with 2 wins this year, and Colorado's Rick Corelli. The Homestead and Texas winner, that's Kenny Irwin Jr. and Ricky Crawford of Alabama. Brian Reffner and Mark Green making his series debut. The ASA Series champion Tony Raines and Idaho's Randy Tolsma. Jimmy Hensley and Virginian Stacy Compton. There's Mike Bliss, quick in practice here, and Chuck Bound making his 2nd visit ever to Milwaukee. Doug George still hurting from his injuries, and there's George's Tammy Jo Kirk. Road racer Boris Said, and the Orlando winner Joe Rutman, that's row 10. Row 11, the Dodge of Michael Dockin, the Chevrolet of Terry Cook. Mike Cope with a couple of 2nd-place finishes here, and longtime ARCA veteran Bob Keselowski. West Coast driver Dan Press and Tony Roper in row number 13. Butch Miller, he's a favorite up in these parts, and Colorado's Jerry Robertson. Lonnie Rush Jr. and Chicago native Bobby Dotter. Dave Resendiz and Lance Norick, who carries the Chicago Blackhawks colors on his truck today. The coach is here, Jerry Glanville, and shotgun on the field, Eric Norris of Dallas, Texas.
4 drivers failed to qualify for this event. Andy Ginsman, Sidney Peterson, Bob Shack, and Bill Sedgwick. Rick Corelli's in the pits there. I hope it's not a problem for him. Here's the manufacturer's breakdown today. You have 15 Fords, 15 Chevrolets, 4 Dodges. And Chevrolet leads with the most wins with 7.
Take a look at the race analysis. There are 34 trucks starting the race today. It's a 200-lap race for 200 miles, 2-segment race, 101 laps in the first segment. Then they'll stop, have a halfway break, and then go for 99 laps. It's an open pit race, means they can pit anytime under green, but they cannot change tires unless they have a flat. If they change tires at any time when they're not supposed to at the halfway point, it's a 5-lap penalty per tire. NASCAR does this to try to keep the cost down in this series.
As far as a closer look at the Milwaukee Mile is concerned, there are the exact numbers on the banking here. The straightaway's 1,265 feet long, and that sets the stage for today's running of the Milwaukee 200 under beautiful skies here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Temperature right now in the mid-70s, actually low to mid-70s. As we awoke at the hotel over the last couple of days, the temperatures were in the 50s. It doesn't get any better than that as far as racing weather is concerned.
Absolutely perfect. I'm sure anybody that drives a race truck or a car would love to have this day to race on.
We'll be giving you a lot of different looks at the Milwaukee Mile today. The Sears DieHard Chevy truck for Rich Bickle will have our onboard cameras for you this afternoon to give you a good look at that totally flat back straightaway. The Napa Brakes Chevy truck as well. Ron Hornaday will be giving us a ride around the speedway. Again, trying to improve on 3rd-place finishes here the last couple of years. Jimmy Hensley in the Richard Petty owns Cummins engine Dodge. Richard celebrating his 60th birthday earlier this week. Happy birthday to the king of stock car racing, Richard Petty. Mike Bliss, who was quickest in practice yesterday, starts middle of the field. The Team ASE truck will be giving us those shots. As the field gets the 1-to-go signal, Boris Said, the noted road racer, has the Federated Auto Parts 1-800-COLLECT truck. and he'll be riding us around the Milwaukee Mile, as will the Dana Dodge. Michael Dockin trying to back up his top 10 finish of a weekend ago. Actually, he and Tony Raines, teammates for the Rorick Racing team, each with top 10 finishes one weekend ago. Back on pit road again. Here's Rick Corelli. Dick, what's the problem?
He's got a big problem, Eli, and the problem is brakes. He's only got a tiny little bit of pedal gear. This is a track that requires a good bit of brakes. Right now, Rick Wren, crew chief, under the hood trying to get him. They've got the left rear wheel off, and they are trying to bleed the brakes. Corelli so far has finished every race this year. He can't even start this one.
So a tough break for Rick Corelli, the High Plains drifter out of Denver, Colorado. Not the kind of day he had been looking for, qualifying as well as he had in the 6th spot. We are coming to green again. 200 laps, 200 miles. The halfway break technically at lap 101 with the second segment, as Ned told you a bit ago, of 99 laps in duration. Race 12 of 26, and now the lights are coming back on atop the safety vehicle, so they are waving off the start of the Milwaukee 200.
This is going to be interesting. Rick Corelli is trying to get back on the racetrack and not go a lap down, but he wouldn't go a lap down anyhow because the green hadn't come out.
Now you see the lights do go out again atop the Ford Thunderbird, so we are once again one lap away from going green. Let's check in with Mike Joy.
Well, last week at Nazareth, a couple of trucks went the second 100 miles without a fuel stop. That was somewhat unexpected. In this race, I believe that all the teams will pit in the first segment so they can accurately gauge their mileage under race conditions. There are some teams that, based on the number of caution laps we have in the second segment, intend to try to go all the way.
We'll all find out. Certainly Joe Ruttman showed everybody they can get the job done, at least last weekend here on CBS in Nazareth.
And Borsed did it in the first half of the race up there, so it is possible.
That's what's up for grabs here this afternoon as the series works race 12 of 26, 44-point spread, but just 2:18 as you see from Rich Bickle back to the 6th place Kenny Irwin, who also leads the Rookie of the Year standing. So lots on the line as we get set to come to green.
For the Rick Corelli fans, he has fallen into the tail end of the field here, and he's ready to go, it looks like.
Through turn number 4, that flat track. Just wide and yawning and waiting for these trucks to attack. And as the Ford pulls away, here we go. The Milwaukee 200 underway in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Didn't take long for some 3-wide racing, but the front, they go single file as they said they wanted to off the get-go. That is Jack Sprague in the 24, Rich Bickle in the 17, Jay Sauter in number 3, Hornaday right behind in the number 16 Napa truck. Then Mike Wallace, who takes over the 52 ride this weekend.
There was a real scramble into turn 1 on that first lap. As you said, some 3-wide racing, but fortunately everyone was able to get through there and got down to 2-wide racing.
Well, let's talk about the flat track itself. What you do, you go down the straightaways like you're on a drag strip almost. You get down towards the corner, you really apply the brake, and once you get out wide, you see the gray part of the racetrack there. The black edge right around the bottom part of the racetrack is very essential. That's the fastest way around this racetrack, as you see, as they put the left front right down on the yellow line, kind of sweep out there, stay on that black part of the racetrack. But if you get out in that loose part, a flat racetrack does not give you as much traction, and the back end will come right around on you.
Into turn number 3. Leaders still working with no change for position. Actually, the single file all the way back to about 12th spot now.
There's one guy in the back of the pack, Rick Corelli. You mentioned that he had to line up at the back. But while you were talking about running the inside, buddy, he just moved up on the outside and passed about a half a dozen trucks in a lap there. But, you know, he just has a good handling truck.
If you could see right now, he's losing it back, though. He went in the corner and did make up some time, but further through the corner there, he lost about 3 of the spots there. That outside's not as quick as the inside.
So Sprague continues to lead. Mike, what are they saying in the Corelli pit?
Well, he does have some brakes. The pedal, though, is very mushy, and that's perplexing the crew chief, Rick Wren. He said they just changed pads and rotors and bled the brakes just before the race. He does have some brakes. They're not sure for how long.
Well, he's up to 24th place after starting 34th.
There's the spread for you among the top 4 trucks. Just underway, 4 of those 200 laps complete. Sauter running in third, the black number 3 truck. Really one of the only racing Sauters not to have won here. His dad Jim has won here. His brother Tim has won here as we ride with Rich Bickle now, looking up the back straightaway to Jack Sprague.
Let's just take a corner with Rich Bickle. You can see the left front going right down against the rumple strips there on the inside. Kind of sweeps out a little bit. You can see Sprague's truck just get a little bit antsy in the back there as they head down the front straightaway. These are very long turns. As they start in, watch how close they get to the inside wall there, getting into turn 1. Now they'll sweep out right here and then pull back down towards the white line as they come towards the back straightaway, letting the truck drift out to the outside wall.
And the ripple strips are something new here. They paved the turns here at the Milwaukee Mile, and you can see the black pavement there where it's new. And those ripple strips are new this year, so it keeps them from cutting down on the dirt, at least like we have seen in the past.
Wide racetrack, and of course with no traffic to deal with right now, that's a blessing on any track, but particularly a flat track here. No need to lay on that brake pedal at all. Sprague, Bickle, Sauter in the 3, Hornaday next in line, then Kenny Irwin Jr. He's now up to the 5th spot. Further back, there's Chuck Bound in the 99 left of your screen, having just made the move around Cope to grab the 15th position. Only the second time Chuck Bound has ever raced here at the Milwaukee Mile. He was here in his NASCAR Busch Series days, but not at all since.
And I'm sure that experience helped him some, but there is a difference in the vehicles. Certainly the Busch cars, and that, as you say, that was several years ago, but any laps on any racetrack is helpful.
And the 15 truck right there, Mike Cope, has been here twice and has finished second in NASCAR All-Pro Series racing. He was second to Scott Hansen once and second to Tim Sauter once. So, again, another fellow who, although has been here, is used to driving a 2,800-pound car, now a 3,400-pound truck, buddy.
You're riding now with Michael Dockin as he goes down into turn 1. He closed in on Cope there on the last lap, about 4 truck lengths. You can see he's really good getting up out of the corner. You can see him gaining on Cope as they head down the back straightaway.
Yeah, close they get to the wall as they head into turn 3. They want to make that sweep as wide as they can through there.
No change up front, by the way. We're just going to keep you with this action here, middle of the field. Jack Sprague continues, as you see right there, with a 4, now 5 truck length edge on Rich Bickle. And there's the spread from 1st to 5th as they swing off the corner. Boris Shedd is on the move now.
He is currently in 12th position.
That's Ruffner just ahead of him. Brian Ruffner, who first came here 20 years ago to help his dad, who was a great Wisconsin short track and middle intermediate type of track standout. And Brian came here 20 years ago the first time, said, I always wanted to race here. And he has, and he's done well. We are 11 laps into the 200 of the Milwaukee 200. Welcome to CBS Sports, live coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We are with you in West Allis, Wisconsin, the Milwaukee Mile. I'm Eli Gold with Buddy Baker, Ned Jarrett, Dick Berggren, Mike Joy. We welcome those of you who are joining us now after enjoying the Pepsi 400. John Andretti picking up the victory today. Our congratulations to those folks as you watch a good battle now shaping up between Mike Bliss and the number 2 truck. That's for 8th spot as he works alongside Randy Tolsma in the 61 and makes easy work of that battle.
And Mike Bliss has come from his 15th starting position. We said at the top of the show he would be one to watch to come up through the pack.
There's been the progression for Mike.
Eli, I talked to Barry Dotson, the crew chief on this truck. He was fastest qualifier last week in Nazareth. He said they did not pull enough gear, but he would guarantee everybody they would have enough gear in this truck to run up front all day long here.
Good look at Mike Bliss at work and the Team ASE entry. Been an up and down kind of year for Mike Bliss. Not the kind of consistency that they have enjoyed in the past.
Well, when they got to Texas, you know, these trucks ran 176 miles an hour there, and Mike Bliss had the fastest deal, had a problem with the right front tire, and it knocked the front fender off and lost all the aerodynamics, but it was the fastest truck out there. Bliss is quick everywhere he races.
So 14 laps complete. Jack Sprague has led from the start. There's the running order as we are live in Milwaukee.
Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Sears DieHard. And by Mobil 1 100% synthetic motor oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
Jack Sprague in the green Quaker State truck started from the pole. He has not been challenged since, has led every single lap thus far with Rich Bickle and Jay Sauter close behind. Ron Hornaday is next, and then Kenny Irwin Jr. Problems on an unscheduled pit stop right there as Robertson brings his truck onto the pit lane, and we can see a lot of smoke from that right front.
Eli, it looked like there was even a little flame just a second ago. The brakes are very hot on the right front of that Robertson truck.
Jerry Robertson in the pits for brake problems early. There is our race leader, Jack Sprague, who again has won 6 of the last 7 races on 1-mile tracks coming into today's event here in Milwaukee. Good battle there between Ron Hornaday, left of your screen on the 16, and the Rookie of the Year point leader, Kenny Irwin Jr. And what a pleasant surprise he's been this season.
He's had a great season so far, 2 wins. That's 4th and 5th you're looking at there now. Hornaday in the number 16 and Irwin in the number 98.
You're looking back at Kenny Irwin going down towards turn 1. This kid really has good hands. I talked to the people that work with him. They said he has great feel for this truck. He's already won twice this year. Who knows what he might do before the year's over.
Dick Bergman's been following Kenny Irwin for a lot of years, and Dick, I think maybe he's surprising himself this season.
He is indeed, Eli, and if anyone here was watching last week at Nazareth and saw Irwin take a hard hit on the driver's side door, they'd be shocked to learn that the truck he is running so well in here today is that same truck. They went home Sunday night right after that race, pulled the motor. Monday morning it was in the body shop. They cut the body off it, reskinned it. Monday night it was in the paint shop. Tuesday they set it up. Wednesday they headed for Milwaukee, and right now they're headed for the front, doing a great job. This team knows what it means to work hard.
In a super run there. Conversely, Ron Hornaday, who also had problems a weekend ago, that team basically built a truck in 3 days' work. They literally did the midnight oil, had it going all week long, showed up with a truck that was basically untested, and Hornaday's having himself a good run. But there's Jack Sprague, and that picture tells the whole story. There's nobody around him. And that's been the story since they dropped the green.
Except just behind him, Eric Norris went a lap down just now, and you can see him in the black and white truck there as Bickle moves in on him.
Eric Norris, the son of a man who you enjoy seeing here on CBS on Saturday nights, Chuck Norris from Walker, Texas Ranger. Eric has been racing since 1982, went a lap down. There's a good scramble, and Chuck Bound got a little bit loose coming off the corner right there, back in 15th spot in that number 99 Exide truck.
Eli, they've run a good while here now, 25 laps, and the chassis that aren't working real good, now is when they start slipping a little bit out there. Jimmy Hensel in the number 43 on the left of your screen. Chuck Bound in the black number 99.
Michael Dockin right of the screen.
Ooh, he's coming up fast there behind Bound as they come off the corner there. Got a good run on him, but not enough to get by.
That's really the key here. If you can get through and turn in the corner well, you can jump on that throttle a whole lot more quickly as Chuck Bound and Dockin go around Jerry Glanville, who is already a lap down in his number 81 truck.
Levi, there's a question about what's the proper way to get in the corner on a flat track. If you drive in extremely hard, you push out like Chuck Bound just did, and Michael Dockin went in just a little bit slower, but got on the throttle quicker, got a good run up off the corner.
You see the average speed there. Last lap for the race leader was at 117.5 miles an hour. Speed continuing to escalate in what has been a caution-free event thus far. As you ride with Michael Dockin and Chuck Bound in their private battle, Bob Keselowski on the right of the screen coming into view as well.
That's Rick Corelli just behind there. Had brake problems at the very start of the race, but looks to be all right now.
Lance Norrick goes a lap down in the 90 truck as Jack Sprague continues to just march through the field. Dave Rezendes with a good run here in the early stages, picking up 8 spots. We've talked of Boris Said, and we saw Bob Keselowski taking his Dodge closer to the front.
These are good trucks going a lap down right now. That was Stacy Compton there that Sprague was fixing to put a lap on. Last week, this truck ran in the top 5. Stacy Compton did all day long.
Today, though, as you see on the left of your screen, Compton 29th in truck number 86.
Looks like Rich Bickle might have picked up a little bit on Sprague. It could have been in the traffic, because Sprague certainly tiptoeing his way through the traffic, has a clear track ahead of him there now, but maybe Bickle has closed down just a little bit on him.
If you're new to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, we talk about Mile Track Jack. Last year, he won the 2 races at Phoenix, 1 mile flat track. He won in Nazareth a year ago. He won here in Milwaukee, and again this year he's won Phoenix and Nazareth. As you see the interval, both numerically, and there you see Sprague going by with Bickle now, giving us the view towards the front.
See Bickle just barely getting the right side, right up on the outside of the black mark there. Gets a great run down the straightaway. If anything, I think he may be closing in just a little bit on Sprague right now.
30 laps are complete, caution-free. Jack Sprague was on the pole. Jack Sprague still leads. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Mile. No change on the leaderboard. Jack Sprague still showing the way over Rich Bickle, Jay Sauter, Ron Hornaday, Kenny Irwin Jr., Mike Bliss, Mike Wallace. That's your top 7 right now. First half of the event still underway. We stop after lap number 101. We're at lap number 36 of the 200 laps here this afternoon. There you see Jack Sprague not braking at all. Many other trucks right now are getting particularly loose. Ned, you talked about it earlier. Chuck Bound is one of those. There's Boris Said's truck, the Federated Auto Parts machine, and Kelly, will you marry me? From Mike. That is a member of the crew. He's a mechanic on the Boris Said entry, and he is proposing to Kelly, who is down in Florida, I am told, enjoying the telecast today here on CBS. Mike Joy, what's going on? Are you going to be the best man or what?
Well, actually, his name is Mike Kelly. He's the scorer for the team. Her name is Kelly Walker, and hopefully she'll call up here and give an answer. The 8th place starter, Rick Crawford, is on pit road. They believe they have lost either the flywheel or the clutch in his Ford.
There's a little mirror just on the left side there. It's, you can see Ned Jarrett just drew a circle around it. There's a blind side on these trucks that you cannot see right down the left-hand side. That's a good idea, I think, for safety-wise. A lot of race cars should put that on it, because that really lets you know when they're right on that left rear corner.
And Boris Said, who you're looking at there, is here for the very first time ever. He said, I'm getting better, more comfortable, but any little extra help I can get, I'm going to take.
Yeah, can you imagine driving a street car down the highway and not have a rear view mirror?
Yeah.
No, that's a great idea. Though.
Well, and the other thing, you have a wraparound. You could see it on the side of the helmet on Boris Said there. It goes around the right side, and you also have one on the left side. So the visibility is pretty poor on the left side when you're looking back. You see the headrest there on the right-hand side.
A lot of folks don't realize the strain that there is on you, even on a flat track. You can understand it if you're at a Bristol with way, way high bank corners, but even on a flat track, you're going to get some neck strain.
Okay, on a flat track, you actually get more thrust towards the right side of the truck than you do on a Bristol. Bristol, the whole car goes down in the racetrack. On a flat track, you have to have tremendous body roll, and that also makes you want to lean over to the right in the seat. So all these things, the form-fit seats, the wraparounds on the head, very essential.
Battle going on here for third. Jay Sauter has it right now, but Ron Hornaday has caught him.
Here now, Hornaday right there. Everybody watching this battle, including Dick Berggren.
Jay Sauter has a problem, and the problem is with his brakes. This is a very important brake racetrack, and Sauter's aren't going away. At first, the pedal was mushy. Now it is getting closer and closer to the floor. The crew is watching very intently. There is nothing they can do about that thing on pit road. Sauter's brakes are going. Eli?
Let's elaborate on that just a little bit. What happens? You boil the fluid also in there, and you start pumping the brakes, trying to get enough pedal to get in the next corner. Sooner or later, if the condition keeps like that and you don't have a chance to cool them, he'll lose all the brake he has on that 3 truck.
Dick mentioned the fact that this racetrack brakes are very important here. Normally on a 1-mile racetrack, you don't think brakes are that important, but the fact that the turns are so flat, you run fast down the straightaway, perhaps 140 miles an hour or so, and then you got to get it slowed down to less than 100 miles an hour in the turns, so you do use quite a bit of brake.
A lot of folks liken this to a big Martinsville Speedway, 2 drag strip light straightaways and a couple of very, very tight turns.
Now, he had a little bit of space there without a lot of traffic around him, and there's fresh air vents going back to the brakes. He may have cooled them a little bit. He does not look to be in any kind of trouble right now, but he might be pumping those things halfway down the straightaway just to get enough pedal to get in the next corner.
They went around the 92 of Doug George, around the 60 of Bobby Dotter. Doug George has a problem here with the injuries he suffered at Bristol a few weeks ago. He's a 2-footed driver. 1 foot on the accelerator, 1 on the brake. This weekend he can't do that because of his foot injuries. He's having to teach himself how to race all over again.
And that's quite an experience too, because once you become accustomed to using that left foot on the brakes, it's hard to break that habit.
Great battle for third. You're riding with Ron Hornaday.
Ron Hornaday, he said, if you're having brake trouble, I'm going to make some more trouble. He's right up under the back of that truck.
Well, he'll run up there close and try to make him use those brakes up even more.
Through turns 1 and 2, and now on the back straightaway. We are at lap 45 of 200. No change up front. Still Jack Sprague ahead of Rich Bickle. Then this battle here, Sauter and Hornaday. Just joining us, nobody has challenged Jack Sprague today. He started from the pole. He has led every single one of the 45 laps thus far. We told you Rick Crawford has taken his truck behind the wall. Mike, what's the final outcome of that story?
They're still working on the truck. Rick has climbed out. What's the problem?
Must be the clutch. So I have a heck of a vibration in it, and the Circle Bar Motel and RV Park 4 just started losing some ground, and I brought it in, boy, scattered something, and with the master clutch coming to pits, and there wasn't none, so maybe the clutch come out of it.
You got 30 or so laps out there. What kind of shape is the track in?
It's in good shape as long as you stay on the bottom. You'll see people get on the inside, pass down the straightaway, and stay in the bottom in the corners. You have to go run the lap traffic on the outside, but the only place to pass is on the inside.
Okay, well, a strong run of rookie finishes here over the last few weeks has come to an end for Rick Crawford.
Good young man from Mobile, Alabama. CBS Sports coverage of the Milwaukee 200 will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Following the Milwaukee 200 here on CBS Sports. Well, that is correct. Rich Bickle is now the race leader. Did he power by Jack Sprague? Well, he took advantage of an opportunity, Ned.
Yes, he did. Sprague was lapping some traffic going into turn number 3. Let's take a look at it as he goes into number 3, trying to move on the outside of Joe Ruttman. And no love lost between those 2 drivers, and gets up in that loose stuff you were talking about, buddy, a little bit earlier.
You can see Sprague knows that everything that's wearing off the tires and all goes to the outside of this racetrack. A bank racetrack is self-cleaning, but here it sticks right on the outside there. He did a smart thing. Back off, get the truck under control. Even though he did lose the lead, he did the only thing you could do.
There are the numbers thus far for the Milwaukee 200 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. And yes, we are caution-free. And what that has meant now is that whether it's Sprague or the current leader, Bickle, they're already lapping up to 20th overall.
Yeah, only 20 trucks are on the lead lap right now. Dave Resendez is in that 20th position, and he's just about to go the lap down as Rich Bickle catches him. So they're setting a very fast pace here, and some of these trucks back through there, I'm sure, would love to get into pits. The drivers would to get some adjustments on those trucks, but we haven't had a caution. Can't do it.
Boy, this is where you get a good breath and just hope you don't do anything wrong. Jack Sprague has really turned it up. He's right on Bickle. He does not like to run second place. He'll make a run for the lead here pretty quick.
And old Dave Resendez, if you were with us last week, as you see the battle for the lead now with Sprague inside of Bickle. Remember, Resendez last week was running 8th in that 35 truck when the tailpipe went through his radiator and basically finished his day. Great battle for the lead going into turn 3.
I think Bickle will have to back out here as they're running up on that truck there, but he's on that outside. He wants to be careful not to get up in the loose stuff, buddy, and let's side by side.
But great race down in the corner. You see Sprague did get the lead back as they get by Resendez there, or try to get by. Resendez very strong on the outside. Bickle just had to settle for second.
Resendez, the meat in the sandwich right there. Sweet second with Mike Joy.
Dave did not qualify well, but they did change engines this morning. That was Larry the Lizard and crew had a busy day getting that all changed up. Charles Hardy, who owns that truck, was partners with Bill Elliott and Winston Cup Racing. Bill bought him out, and in 6 weeks and $1.5 million, Charles built a truck team because he got lonely. He really missed racing.
Problems. Michael Dockin is in the wall. Dan Press in the 75 also involved. First caution of the afternoon. It comes out at lap number 58. There you see Dockin at the top of your screen pulling away, and Dan Press, the spin and go in the number 75 truck. But the first caution as we ride with Michael Dockin, and what a break this is for many, many teams.
Yeah, bad break for Michael Dockin and Press because they went a lap down. Of course, there's no racing back to the flag in truck racing.
Tremendous damage. You see Dockin there, the right front just went flat. You see the steering wheel jumping up and down violently. Right front's in bad trouble on Dockin there. But you can see the tire flapping around on the outside of the fender as he starts down pit road.
So Kurt Rohrig's Dodge finished a weekend ago in 5th, as you saw here on CBS. Right now with a lot of work as Chris Morgan throws the caution on the field.
Now, Mike Joy, well, we'll take a look first to see what happened going into the turn. And
looked like just Press and Dockin got together.
Yeah, yep. Dan Press in the 75 truck and Dockin in the 18. They were running in the 18th and 19th position at the time. I started to mention...
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they really got together.
Okay, we talked about the wall on the inside. That was part of it right there. The inside truck had nowhere to go starting into turn 1. As Dockin started down, contact was made, and that's what triggered that wreck.
So pit stops now, the name of the game here at lap number 59. There you see the running order. Again, this first half of the race wraps at lap 101. Pit stops, first of the afternoon. We're back in a moment. And hopefully Walker will be doing a little bit better than Eric Norris. Of course, Chuck Norris, the star. Here's Eric, who is right now having not the best of days, but again, he's learning the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, running in 29th position right now. Let's take you back now, guys, to the accident of a couple of moments ago.
You could see Dan Press on the bottom there as they made contact. Dockin had no idea he was down there. He started down. Press with nowhere to go with that wall going into turn 1. That was it.
Let's get a further update from the pits. Michael?
Well, coincidentally, they're pitted side by side. Dan Press only had a little damage to the right front corner. He's fine. But Dockin did a very sharp thing. They replaced the right side tires, which were down on the rim, and he took off with a flat left rear so he would stay on the lead lap. They believe right now they may have a tire rub, so they're going to bring Michael back in to pull the fender out, and then he's good to go until halftime. Dick Bergeron?
At the head end of the pits where the majority of fast trucks come in, everybody stopped for fuel. Now, this is the can they used for Rich Bickle's truck. Frank Hugo, the fuel man, had an opportunity to put 11 gallons in. He didn't. He put in only 6 gallons. The point, spend as little time on pit road as possible. Frank says, don't worry. We got enough gas to make it to the halfway. You got to know, he's an Illinois State Trooper is his full-time job. He moonlights, put gas in Bickle's truck on weekends. Eli?
Not a bad way to spend your weekend. There's Boris said he has just been sent to the end of the longest line of traffic for the restart. He was a little bit too quick leaving the pit lane, so he has taken that penalty by restarting at the tail end of the longest line of traffic.
Eli, what about the doctor's hat? Is that a friendly hat or what?
It is.
I love that hat.
There's Boris said as we ride with him, getting set to go back to green. Again, Mike Joy.
Boris said had only 10 laps of practice here before they lost the engine, and this track is brand new to him. But he was 8th fastest in yesterday's last practice and looking to move up as we go green.
Back off into the corner at lap number 65 of 200. As the lead trucks now pivot into view, the number 17 is Rich Bickle working his way through traffic. Jack Sprague, the 24.
Look at Hornaday. He started to make it 3 wide as they headed down into turn 3. Thought better of it, though.
Jay Sauter in the 3 truck also made a good jump there on the start, and there he is moving ahead of Hornaday through the corner.
And also both of them passed Jack Sprague. Just caught him in traffic. Moved around.
You know, I saw a black flag just then. I don't know what truck it was for, but it looked very close to the 3 truck there.
I think it was the Tammy Joe
Kirk truck on the restart jumping, and that was the reason for the black flag right there. There you see Tammy Joe in the 7 being bypassed by the 3 of Jay Sauter, and a little rub as they go by.
You can see Tammy Joe there. She was headed for the pit area. When they give you the black flag, you have to come in. They want to talk to you for doing wrong.
It'll probably be a stop-and-go penalty, but stop-and-go means a lot. She'll be lucky to get back out and stay there, not go another lap down.
And there you see, just come to a stop and quickly get back to racing.
She was already 1 lap down.
Lead truck is the orange and black number 17 in the middle of your screen. That's Rich Bickle. He'll work to the outside or maybe even the inside of Dan Press, depending on what opens up.
And Eli, Dan Press has gotten back on the lead lap as well as those pit stops. He and Joe Ruttman and the Mike Cope truck up in front of Rich Bickle. They're all on the lead lap, but they're almost a lap down.
Right, the tail end of the lead lap.
You can see Press right there. You can see damage to the right front corner. It looks like the toe end might be off just a little bit. The truck not handling just the way he wants to. You can see it wiggling a little bit. But hey, he's got his foot in it. He's riding.
They're good side-by-side battle now. Sauter challenges Bickle. There's Hornaday watching it all. That's the battle for the lead.
I think I see some smoke out of the back of Hornaday's truck as he went down in the corner just then. I could notice just a little bit of smoke.
We had a report, Buddy, that there was some smoke coming from his number 16 Napa truck. We'll watch that as they battle for the lead coming off of turn 4, Eli.
Around Michael Dockin, who was involved in the accident. Here goes Hornaday as well. 3 wide for the lead at Milwaukee. Lap number 69.
Oh, somebody had to back out. It was Jay Shaw
Sauter said it's too early. I'm going to give for a minute.
Yeah, he was smart.
Well, we can hope that was just a little bit of right rear tire smoke off Hornaday's truck. You see him right now. He's in front of Bickle going down into turn 3.
So Hornaday with the lead. We've had Sprague, Bickle, and now Hornaday showing the top spot. Lap number 61, officially where the lead change takes place moments ago. Now it swaps around again at lap number 69.
Eli, I can see trouble back there coming. You can see Jack Sprague looking to the inside down the straightaways. This truck is extremely powerful down the straightaways.
Well, he went around the Jay Sauter truck, took over the 3rd position. That'd be the 4th position.
Hornaday the leader.
No, it'd be 3rd, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Get me straight here, Eli.
You were right all the
Sauter,
time.
and Sprague, then Irwin. That's your top 5. Still trying to get around Dan Press, who's driving the wheels off that Sears Manufacturing number 75, trying to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, those guys are just praying for a caution right now. They get to make up the full mile. But he's doing the right thing. He's supposed to stay down on the inside left lane and go by. He got a little high there, and that cost him.
Once you get out of the groove like that, you can see now he loses a little bit, tries to fight back on the inside, but he's in trouble now. These other trucks are trying to put him that lap down again.
72 of 200. We have the caution coming in lap 101, the 5-minute break midway through the Milwaukee 200.
There's Sprague. Just moved around the 17 truck of Bickle.
21 trucks on the lead lap because the first caution didn't come out until lap number 58. As opposed to a 1995, we had our first caution on the first lap. And last year, the first yellow flew on lap number 4. Today, not until 58 laps were complete, and that put a lot of trucks down in a hurry. Riding with Rich Bickle. He's in third. Jack Sprague, that green truck just ahead, led the first 50 laps, then led 57 through 60. That smoke again, guys.
Yeah, you can see it
really
there.
Bubbling out now from behind Hornaday's truck.
I'm not sure that's tire smoke.
No, that was in the middle part of the truck. He definitely has a problem. It's definitely in the center part of the truck, whether it's in the front part or back, we can't tell, but it is smoking out the back of the truck in the center part.
But it's not affecting his speed on the racetrack.
It will sooner or later. As soon as he uses up whatever that is smoking.
20th place, Dave Resendiz, going a lap down in the Ortho truck number 35.
He's 20th.
Also, you can bet the NASCAR's looking at this also. They're probably down there talking to Hornaday's crew right now, trying to figure out what the problem is, because they don't smoke like that unless something's wrong.
Just joining us, remember, Ron Hornaday has a cracked rib on his right side and some cartilage damage. He's not all that comfortable in the truck, but he likes the view from where he is. He's atop the leaderboard at lap 76 of 200. Working lap number 79 of 200 under caution for debris. The second caution of the afternoon. The first came out at lap 58 when Michael Dockin and Dan Fresh got together. This is the second yellow of the day. Jack Sprague ahead of Hornaday at the stripe with Rich Bickle, with whom you're riding now, running in third. Jay Sauter fourth, and Kenny Irwin is fifth here under yellow. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Well, the ice has melted for Lance Norick. I think rocker arm problem. What's the trouble, Lance?
Not really sure. You know, we had a little misfire in last practice yesterday and in qualifying. We thought it was carburation, but it kept doing it during the race, and then it just finally got too bad.
Okay, he's behind the wall. They're going to try to fix it. Dick Berggren?
A lot of conversation during that caution flag between Ron Hornaday and crew chief Freddie Graves. They're not sure what the smoke is from. They absolutely do not know, but they do not think they have a problem with the truck. It's an intermittent smoke, and we saw it there as Hornaday dove into the first turn of the restart.
And they've got that 5-minute break coming up in just 20 laps from now. A chance to work on that Napa truck and figure out exactly what's amiss. But there's the familiar sight. Jack Sprague back atop the leaderboard. Hornaday in second.
He just passed just before the caution came out, and Hornaday went into turn one, almost got up beside of Jack Sprague, but it cost him now. He's having to battle the lap truck of Dave Resendiz. Now he gets back in front of him, but that was going to cost him there if he wasn't careful.
Whoa, Jack Sprague got really loose there in the center part of the corner. You could see the green truck turn sideways as he got in the middle part of the corner there.
Hornaday in second, just waiting and watching. Hornaday led for 6 laps. From 70 through 76, and he'll make a bid again.
He's a Charger. Couldn't quite get the traction he needed off the turn that time.
You know, we were talking about Hornaday, but I see a little bit of oil on the back of the Quaker State truck there. You can see just about the A there.
The A and the K.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And during the caution period, we overheard the radio conversation between Hornaday as he moves on the inside, tries to take the lead.
If he gets the bite off turn 4, couldn't do it before.
Eli, he don't have to worry. He's got the preferred line there, getting into turn 1.
That's what I started to say. We overheard the conversation radio between Ron Hornaday and his crew, and Hornaday was saying that there's some oil or something on the back of that 24 truck.
Of course, the crew was also quizzing Hornaday, as we heard from the pitch before, as to what was amiss with the Napa truck.
So maybe both of them can make it to the halfway point, which is only 16 laps away, and they'll be able to check them out and see what the problems are.
That's a scary camera. Nobody's running that, by the way. That is remote.
Thank goodness.
Front 2, as you can see, pulling away from the third-place truck now by a goodly distance. Bickle having trouble getting around Resendiz. Bickle the 17, Sauter is the 3, Kenny Irwin, and now for the first time Mike Bliss very much in the mix, now running in 6th spot with Mike Wallace behind him in 7th.
Well, Bickle is having a tough time. Dave Resendiz doing a good job, buddy, out there in that second groove that you wouldn't think you'd be able to stick out there.
Incredible forward drive. As you see, Bickle's having a handful coming off the corner. The two trucks are very, very even. And Dave Resendiz holding on as you see Sprague taking the lead again from Hornaday. Hornaday fighting back on the inside as they head for the front straightaway.
Couldn't quite make that move that Dale Earnhardt has popularized so many times. So the lead held now by Jack Sprague in that Quaker State truck. Caution is on the speedway. Caution on the speedway. Lap number 86. Problems for the 61 of Randy Tolsma, who is up against the wall between turns 3 and 4. And that is the third caution of the afternoon, coming out at lap number 86 for Idaho's Randy Tolsma.
And he was one of those 19 drivers that was in the lead lap, Eli, and it's too bad he has gone a lap down now.
So caution on the speedway here in Milwaukee. CBS Sports coverage of the Milwaukee 200 will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Sports coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is sponsored by Budweiser, the classic American lager, Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans, and by the more than 1,575 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Welcome back. CBS Sports live coverage from Milwaukee.
For this track.
We'll be 11 laps away from halfway when the field gets the green in just about a half mile from now. Race leader Jack Sprague. Ron Hornaday is second. Rich Bickle third. Jay Sauter is fourth. Kenny Irwin is fifth. Mike Bliss will restart in sixth. Seventh will be Mike Wallace. Jimmy Hensley will go eighth. Rick Corelli is up to ninth.
Go, go, go.
10th, Mark Green.
Green flag.
And the radio communication to the drivers. They're all up through the gears in a hurry, and they're getting gone.
Dave Resendiz fights in the 35 there to get back on the lead lap. He is right at the moment. You see Hornaday get by also.
Well, Hornaday took a different route this time. He went down to the inside as opposed to the outside like the last time, and he was able to make the pass and take the lead.
So back now on the tail end of the lead lap there is Dave Resendiz, Hornaday, and Sprague, Bickle, Sauter, working 10 laps on the halfway break.
Well, Resendiz knows if he can stay out there for those 10 laps, that he'll get back in the lead lap when that caution comes out at the halfway break. That would be huge for him.
He looks to me to have the speed right now to hang on. If Hornaday does not have to press the issue, you see Jack Sprague not closing in right at the moment. I don't see any point in trying to put Resendiz a lap down. If I were Hornaday, I would try to protect the lead. But you see Bickle coming there in the kind of day glow and red black truck coming there.
See the smoke bubbling from behind Hornaday again. That's the second truck in your picture, number 16.
The yellow truck, he's about to pass, is Dave Resendiz, and he'll make that pass now. He has that preferred groove down on the inside.
Yeah, he got such a great run coming up out of the corner. You see him moving him over there just a little bit.
Oh, and around goes Resendiz. Around goes Resendiz. No caution yet.
Let's see, I don't think he hit the wall, so he's got it fired, but no chance now of getting his lap back.
He waits for all the traffic to go by. We stay under green. We stay under green at lap number 92.
Eli was looking at the left side of the 35 truck of Resendiz. There was no marks on it at all. All that happened was Hornaday got down in there really hard, moved out just a little bit. Resendiz moved to give him room and got in the loose stuff and turned around.
Let's take a look at it.
This is down the back straightaway as they head to turn 3. You see Resendiz on the outside. Hornaday goes extremely hard down in the corner. You can see he kind of washes out right there. He run across the rumple strip. There was no contact, it didn't look like, but you can see that Resendiz is in big trouble there.
Would you say the right wheels of his truck got up in what we call the loose stuff, and that is the loose gravel that's come off the asphalt?
I don't see any donuts or anything on the side.
And that's a better view from that angle right there, clearly showing there was space between the trucks. 94 laps on the board right now as we work towards halfway. Back to the pits, Mike Joy.
Well, Dave, Resendiz is still just 1 lap down, but he's got flat-spotted tires. He's been talking to the crew saying, can I get to halftime? I don't want to run these tires too hard and blow them out. They say the leader's half a lap behind you. Hang in there. We'll fix it at halftime.
You can see Hornaday there with a plastic hose coming out of his mouth. That's a drinking jug that they have just behind the seat. He's getting nourishment right there. He's taking water in. As we go down the straightaway, you see Hornaday just riding along, taking a little sip of cool water.
Do you guys have any kind of water bottles, fellas, when you were driving, Ned and Buddy?
I carried a full gallon in my car, and usually it would be gone at the end of the race.
Yeah, we did. Similar situation with a plastic hose, and you just stuck it right in there. Tasted good.
I bet. I bet it did. 95 of 200 laps. Halfway is 100. The caution will come out at lap 101. So within shouting distance now of that 5-minute break. Hornaday had the lead for a couple of laps. Then Sprague took it for 3 laps. Now Hornaday reassuming the lead over the last 6 laps here in Milwaukee.
And they're pulling away from Rich Bickle, who is running in third. You see the distance there as they go into turn 3.
And you see the interval. How it is spread and then gotten close again over the last handful of laps.
You know, guys, you're talking about Bickle right now. He's sitting right there. He's leading in the point standing. He's looking at the big picture, racing very, very hard also. He feels that if you win races, you win the championship. But he's taking care of this truck. He's running right there with the leaders. They can come in, adjust at halftime, go back out, and they might be the dominant truck when they get back under green.
As for Butch Miller, there he is, running in 19th right now. Butch doing double duty this weekend, as you will be here on CBS with the NASCAR Busch Series running here tomorrow in the Milwaukee 250. But Butch ran last night. He went up to Kaukauna, Wisconsin, and ran the American Speed Association race there. What a night it was, too. He was stopped by a police officer on the way. Didn't get a ticket, did, however, get directions to the racetrack, showed up, took a champion's provisional, started dead last, came up to finish in 8th spot, and now is here running for Walker Evans this afternoon. Butch Miller, quite a weekend already. He's running in 19th spot.
There are the leaders. Ron Hornaday in the number 16 truck. Jack Sprague in the green number 24, and you can see back on the right side of your screen there is the number 17 of Rich Bickle.
Crossed flags are in the air from Chris Morgan. We are halfway home, halfway through the Milwaukee 200. The leader at the halfway point is Hornaday. Joe Ruttman in the 80 truck. He's up to 16th right now, working around Dan Frasson just ahead of Cope, who was running in 17th in the number 15 machine. And the next time around for the lead machines, there on the left of your screen, those trucks will be getting the caution from Chris Morgan. And we'll begin that 5-minute break here midway through the Milwaukee 200. Caution on the speedway. For the 4th time this afternoon, it comes out at halftime. So halfway home in the 12th race of the 1997 season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. There's the running order. We're back in a moment.
Sports Race Summary is sponsored by Mobil 1 100% synthetic motor oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
Halfway through the Milwaukee 200, they've swapped the lead around a lot. Sprague, Bickle, and Hornaday have 8 different times. 4 cautions, this one at halfway being the 4th, with Rick Crawford, Lance Norick, and Michael Dawkins, the trucks behind the wall. On the pit lane, Dick Berggren is watching the changes to Jack Sprague's truck. Dick?
They are happening all around me. Dennis Conner putting on new tires. Jack, this truck looks pretty loose. What you going to do to it?
Well, really, it's awful tight. That's the problem why it's looking loose, but we're going to loosen it up a little bit. Tell you what, Quaker State Chevrolet's running pretty good. We just got awful tight coming off the corners there, and Ron's running awful good, so it'll be a good race.
Can you get him?
If I can get her freed up a little bit, I can get him.
Okay, let's go to Hornaday and see what he's going to do. Ron Hornaday, who has done such a great job today. How are you feeling? How are those ribs?
Well, when you're running like this Napa Chevrolet, you don't worry about them ribs. It'll probably hurt tonight, but right now we're not worried about them ribs. We're just going to leave the truck the way it is and put Ford the Goodyear Eagles on this thing and see if we can take this Napa brake Chevrolet up front.
You beat Sprague?
He's pretty tough, you know. I'll tell you what, when you get a track like this, you're behind them, the truck tightens up, they get behind you, it loosens up. So we're going to play our same strategy here. Maybe Bickle and them want to go racing, and we'll save our tires again.
To Mike Joy.
Kenny Irwin, when you and the team put together the recipe for handling today, what did you order?
Well, we didn't order enough gear, I can tell you that, because we're kind of getting hurt off the corner, especially off of 2. The Chevrolets, they kind of pull me, and I like to change the gear, but they said we're already turning a little too hard right now.
Well, then for this second half, what'll you get?
Well, I'm just hoping that that we can maybe give it a little better handling so we can come off, but I felt like we were pretty good right now. The Raybestos Ford's running pretty good.
All right, let's go to Rick Corelli and let's check out the brake problem that he had early on. Rick Wren and the team had to make a quick pit stop. And Rick, first off, how are the brakes?
The brakes are something else here. We had a little problem. We had to get towards the back, but we made an adjustment. I think we just found out the left front rotor bolts were loose, and hopefully we can get this Remax Chevrolet back out there. And you know, we're having a pretty good run right now. Maybe we can keep in this top 5.
Well, last week he picked up a lot of spots late in the race. Looking for that again. Dick?
Bickle has had a good look at what's going on in front of him. You're watching those guys dicing back and forth for the lead, but you haven't had a part of it. Can you fix this thing so you do?
Well, we had a shot there. We were leading there for a while and got stuck up with some lap traffic, but we're going to make a little adjustment here in the DieHard Chevrolet. Try to catch that mean green and that blue truck out front there. We're running pretty good.
What are you changing?
We're going to try and loosen it up a little bit. We're a little tight in the middle off, and you know, hopefully we can. It's kind of bogging our motor down being tight, so if we get this thing freed up, the motor's run a little better, and hopefully got something for them.
Brakes okay?
All brakes are fine.
All right, let's go up to see Jay Sauter. He has had a brake problem. Recall early on, almost when the race started, Jay Sauter had brake troubles. How are the brakes now? It looks like they're working on them.
Well, we're working pretty good. This Goodwrench Chevrolet is pretty stout. We're just gonna see what we got for him at the end here.
And he is pumping the brakes as he did that little interview. To Mike Joy.
Well, they've just put an electric fan in the cockpit here for Mike Wallace. It feels about 95, 100 in here. Not as hot as Daytona, but pretty hot race today.
I'm sure it's not as hot as Daytona, but you know, that's my first time in the Pure 1 Pure Later truck, and the floorboards got awful hot in his first 100 laps, so we're trying to put some air hoses and little covers on my feet and try to cool it down, and we can race them hard the second time.
How's the truck running for you?
Not bad. We were a little pushy at the first. This was kind of the game plan, you know, just sit there, ride, get to the first 100 lap point, and work on the truck a little bit. And I really don't know if we got anything for like Sprague and Hornaday up there. They're pretty quick, but you know, our goal was to bring this thing home in a top 10 finish today. Hopefully we can get it in top 5 and have a good day for Ken Schrader Racing.
Well, good luck, Mike Wallace. Let's go back to Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Ron Hornaday's crew. They are working under the hood of his truck. Recall the smoke Hornaday was experiencing. They are loading the right side rocker cover with RTV to try and keep that smoke from happening in the second half. Eli.
So that's what's happening on the pit lane. The trucks have refired again. We're about set to go green for the second half of the Milwaukee 200, and it is coming to you live on CBS from the Milwaukee Mile. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Mile. Let's take a look at how they're running now here, getting set to go green in the second half of the event. Hornaday, Sprague, Bickle, they've swapped the lead around this afternoon. Sauter, Irwin, and Bliss, they have been close but not quite up with the top 3. Taking you a little bit further back, Good run for Mike Wallace. Jimmy Hensley quietly efficient in 8th. Rick Corelli, he's got those brakes, hoping to hang on. And then we'll take you further back towards the top 18. There's Boris Said, a good run going. Joe Ruttman, middle of the field right now. And Tony Roper. So as we get set to go green now for the second half of the event, let's talk about half number 1, Buddy Baker. A lot of changes there during the break.
Absolutely, and that's what's so much fun about truck racing. They get in there, they make the adjustment. A guy that's running 10th might end up winning this race today. You never know what they're going to do with these trucks to make them better.
And who might that guy be in the second half, Ned? What do you think?
It's going to be interesting, but I think that little tip we got from Ron Hornaday right there at the end, he said we're going to save our brakes like we did in the first. You know, he didn't come on strong until the end of that first half.
Right.
And he said he's going to do that. So don't be surprised to see him drop back a little bit, but be strong at the end. It's going to be interesting.
99 laps of racing to go. Let's check with Mike Joy as we go to the wedding chapel on wheels down on pit road. Mike?
Well, not exactly. Mike Kelly's in the scorer's stand. You see him there with a red headset. He's scoring for Boris Said. He just wrote down Boris's lap time as he went by. I can't get his attention, but we've already radioed him. Kelly said yes. She'll be Kelly Kelly. There he is. Happy guy. His life is over.
As he knows it now.
No.
I'm just kidding.
So. I don't think so.
Just kidding.
But Kelly Kelly. There you go.
Oh, that's pretty neat, huh?
That'll work nicely.
No, what is your real name? Kelly? Kelly. No.
We are getting set to go green. 99 laps remaining here. If you're just joining us, Rick Crawford, Lance Norrick, and Michael Dokken are behind the wall. We have had 4 cautions. 1 for an accident at lap 58 when Dokken and Dan Press got together. 1 for debris on the racetrack. 1 caution came at lap 86 when Randy Tolsma spun, and then the yellow at halfway. Otherwise, it's been a basically clean race here today, and we're setting to go green, riding with Hornaday, the race leader. Typical of Ron Hornaday. He can launch, as Rusty Wallace likes to say. Boy, he gets going well on those restarts.
He does absolutely go into the gearbox as good as anyone in this division. And you can see he has about a 15-truck length lead. But look at Jack Sprague get right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Bickle right on his tailgate as they come through the corner.
We need to keep watching Hornaday's truck now and see if that smoke reappears that we saw during the first half. Riding with Rich Bickle in 3rd, looking ahead towards Sprague, and Hornaday ahead of him.
New tires, they stick down on the inside much better right now. Good theory.
Rich Bickle from Edgerton, Wisconsin.
So
That's
you
a great
think it's
shot.
not moving through the corner? That's the slowest part of the racetrack. You can see they are flying in the center part of the corner here in Milwaukee.
Oh, Hornaday went up just a little bit, but he got it back down pretty quickly. Didn't lose any ground on his pursuer.
Did that last lap also. Didn't cost him any.
That's sort of the way you used to drive this racetrack before they repaved that part down on the inside. You sort of diamond that turn, and it seemed to work for a lot of drivers. Maybe it's getting worked in to where they can do that again.
6th and 7th now. We ride with Mike Bliss in the Team ASE truck. He is in 6th. He just went around Tammy Jo Kirk's machine. Tammy Jo not on the lead lap. And right behind this truck, you've got Mike Wallace, who took over in the Ken Schrader ride this week. So that's a good battle shaping up right there between Bliss in the number 2 and Wallace in the 52. How difficult is that, fellas, just stepping in to a totally foreign machine? Mike has only run 1 truck race ever, and that was back at North Wilkesboro a couple of years back.
Well, it's an adjustment. There's no doubt about it. However, Mike has been running in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, and those cars weigh the same as these trucks. Weight means a lot when you're making a switch from one to the other. There is a difference in the horsepower. These don't produce quite as much horsepower as the Winston Cup car does, but he's a professional race driver and a good one, I might add, and he makes the adjustment pretty quickly.
Back up front now, Hornaday, Sprague, Bickle, and Sauter. They've been the key players all afternoon long if you're just joining us.
Eli, the difference there, that was a 15-truck length lead just 2 laps ago. Oh, you could see the 24 truck get very sideways, and Bickle took over 2nd.
That's all it takes. Rich Bickle grabs second spot. Jack Sprague now in third ahead of Sauter. And there is the spread. That is what 1.01 seconds looks like on this racetrack from the leader Hornaday back to fourth place Sauter in the number 3 truck. Now Kenny Irwin, the 98, closing in. You get the feeling this one's far from over.
Well, it is, because we listened to everybody talk, and Jack Sprague said he wanted some bite out of the truck, which means loosen the back of the truck up, make it run a little more sideways in the corner. It may get better as he goes along, and he was pushing real bad after the tires got worn a while ago, so he may just have to ride it out until the track comes to him.
And of course, Mike Bliss beginning to move now, waiting to see what Joe Ruttman does. He's back in 13th, because remember, Sprague, Ruttman, and Bliss were first, second, and third last week in Nazareth, and also earlier this week in Phoenix. Watch this pass again for second spot moments ago.
Oh, baby, trouble. Hang on. The Sprague truck just got loose going into the turn. He had to chase it up to what little banking there is. He's trying to get that position back right now, but he really had to get on the brakes and stay off the gas.
Rich Bickle, a strong second place run, Dick Berger, and that will be a hugely popular win here if he could make the move.
It sure would, Eli. He really grew up racing around here. This is a very much a hotbed of automobile and truck racing, this Wisconsin area, and this is where Bickle learned his skills, racing as many as 6 and 7 nights a week. At one point, Bickle had 30 crew members, but there were 5 guys at each of 6 different racetracks. He said, I have run the Milwaukee Mile before, desperately wanted to come here leading the points, and I want to win here. This is his backyard. His fans have filled the grandstand, and right now, Bickle is doing a terrific job as he runs in second with Ron Hornaday in front of him.
You see him snap that wheel?
Did you see the 24 put the bumper to him? That's when he touched him. You could see Bickle really get hold of that steering wheel. He looked over at him and said, wait a minute. That's not the way we do this.
That's a badger against a Wolverine right there. Jack Sprague running in second spot, Mike Joy.
You know, it's interesting the way he described the handling at halftime is exactly like last week. The truck had a push, so he had to drive it loose. Last week, Dennis Conner got him the setup that took him all the way to victory lane. Today, we'll see if those changes pay off. Dave Resendiz is coming to the pits. He has engine trouble. They replaced an engine this morning, and it has gone south. And we're too far up north. I think we'll park it.
Too bad for the Charles Hardy-owned entry. Dave Resendiz had a good run going a weekend ago before it, too, ended prematurely. Lap 112 of 200. There's the separation, first to second, Hornaday and Sprague.
Boy, Jack Sprague is tuned in now. The 24 truck, the green truck there, is really getting through the corner. Bickle dropped back just a second ago. You could see that Sprague got in there a little hot again and lost some ground.
But let's look how smooth Ron Hornaday is driving that truck, how smooth he is in the turns. I don't think that he's pushing it as hard as it will absolutely go. He's trying to take care of those tires now, but sometimes when you're running that smooth, you run faster that way. So he's just sitting out there taking care of his tires, even though he's leading the race, but he's not abusing them right now.
Well, he's racing the racetrack, and they're racing him right now. Anytime you're getting a perfect line around the racetrack, you're not abusing your truck, and you can see Hornaday, as he starts down in turn 1, right against the bottom of the yellow line there, just up just a little bit. Truck's doing everything he wants it to do.
And there you see how it looks to Ron Hornaday, and on the right how it looks to the folks in the grandstand. Hey, he's intense.
You can see Hornaday is definitely, Ned pointed out, is not fighting this truck in the corner at all, but he's going to learn to fight it here in just a second. You see Jack Sprague in the green truck there, the 24, move right in on the tailgate of Hornaday.
Gave that little peek, Ned, off the corner. You see that?
Coming off the turn, he looked up to see where Sprague is. Say, well, okay, what do I need to do in this turn? I don't think that he'll fight him too much if he gets up there and gets to racing too hard. I believe he'll let him go. Although that's not really his nature, but he's still got to save those tires a little bit towards the end.
Boy, both these guys are line tamers. You know they're going to go at it. Every time I watch these guys race, they race as hard as they can. Hornaday, though, did say he was going to save his brakes
and tires. for it. Push the pressure on.
116 laps complete. CBS Sports coverage of the Milwaukee 200 will continue after this message and a word from your local station. You are riding with the race leader, Ron Hornaday Jr. atop the leaderboard here at the Milwaukee Mile in West Allis, Wisconsin. That is just down the road from Milwaukee, the town named after the Allis Chalmers Industrial Equipment Company. And the folks who live here in West Allis say that is where we are, not Milwaukee. But the Milwaukee Mile, call it what you will, has given us a great battle, particularly among those two trucks, Ron Hornaday and Jack Sprague, who've been going at it with the exception of a Rich Bickle lead for a few laps intermittently. It's been Sprague and Hornaday all day.
Their trucks seem to be pretty equal, and they have gone at it, Eli. And gave us some great racing here as they get in lap traffic once again.
Trying to go around the coach, Jerry Glanville. He is 4 laps down in 27th spot in the number 81 machine. He runs infrequently on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, but for him, this is his golf game. He likes getting out and going racing.
He has a lot of fun at it.
Eli, while we were way at break a while ago, Sprague run right in the back of the 16 truck with Hornaday down in the middle of the corner. No damage, no foul. Hornaday just got sideways and got tapped pretty good.
Dick Berggren has been chatting with Dennis Conner, Jack Sprague's crew chief, down on the pit lane. Dick?
Well, the truck, Jack, looks like it's loose, but you say it's pushing. He says it's pushing. How can that be? What's he doing behind the wheel?
Well, one of Jack's driving characteristics when the truck's too tight is he'll kind of get the thing in a four-wheel slide. So if you were in there with him, you'd see him cock the wheels to the right and then jerk them hard to the left, cock them to the right. He's kind of getting in the four-wheel drift to make the thing turn. It's kind of like racing on dirt, I guess.
Yeah, well, he started racing on dirt, but he says he's an asphalt driver. I don't know. It sure looks like he's pitching that thing through the turns to me. Eli?
Of course, one of the best dirt racers around is up here in the booth with us, Ned Jarrett. And Ned, not unlike something that you used to do on those tracks back home.
Most certainly the way that he's describing it there is the way that we used to do it on dirt, and it is a lot of fun, but with radial tires, you get that thing too sideways and you're going to be...
Oh, there goes Hornaday high.
This is for the lead. Sprague.
He was looking for an opportunity, had it, and couldn't pull it off.
Couldn't do it at lap 126 of 200. Hornaday has led since lap 90. Sprague led prior to that. Hornaday prior to that. They've just seesawed back and forth.
You know, as we watch them battling for the lead here, and we talked about Hornaday possibly saving his tires, the man that might be saving the most as Sprague looks again, can't quite do it, might be that truck right back there. That black and red looking one, number 17 of Rich Bickle. He's just sitting there watching those guys go at it up there and say, go ahead, guys, I got you in sight.
And he's got time. We're at lap 127. Ron Hornaday's wife looking on down on the pit lane.
Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, Hornaday right now is holding Sprague up. He's made 4 or 5 runs at him in the middle part of the corner. Hornaday may be saving a lot, but I'm going to tell you, he's got a lot of trouble right behind him here.
The good battle among the front 3. We talked about Bickle just hanging back in third. Dick, are they tipping their hand about strategy at all?
Yeah, in a way they are, Eli. They're talking back and forth on the radio, and that's how they're tipping their hand, and the strategy is just to try to hang in there. They adjusted the truck at the halfway point, as did everybody else, to try to make it better. They made it worse, and Bickle has just radioed to the crew and said, this truck isn't worth, well, you can fill in the dotted line yourself.
Good catch there.
It was interesting, too, to see Bickle get out of his truck at halftime. You don't normally see that.
Yeah, but he's a mechanic. He works on that truck in between halftime. He's not just out there getting himself cooled down. He works on the truck himself.
Hey, if it's that bad as he says it is to his crew, he's doing a good job of hanging in there.
Separation is only 1.09 seconds in that green truck of Sprague back to Bickle in third.
We always talk about how well Jack Sprague runs down the straightaway. I'm going to tell you right now that Ron Hornaday's given absolutely nothing up down the straightaway to that green truck just behind him. They are very even.
Why don't we take you back through the field? There is the race leader, Ron Hornaday, and the Napa Brakes truck, number 16. He's had the lead since lap 90. Right behind him, obviously, Jack Sprague, of whom we've spoken much this afternoon. Behind those two, 1.1 seconds back, that truck right there, that's Rich Bickle, driving for Darrell Waltrip Motorsports in third.
And then in the fourth position will be the truck number 3, the Goodwrench car being driven by Jay Sauter. He's hanging in there in fourth. Right behind him is Kenny Irwin. He's the first Ford in the field, having a good run. 2 races already under his belt this year, having won those 2.
Winner at Homestead, winner at Texas. There's Mike Bliss now, buddy.
Yeah, he's running very, very well. Really got started off with bad track position. He's been running very well of late.
Then Dan Press, he was involved in that caution back on lap number 58 when he and Michael Dockin got together. And Dan is now 10 laps down in 28th position. A West Coast regular from the NASCAR Winston West Series in years past. And then next on the leaderboard, that 7th place runner, Mike Wallace, acquitting himself quite well.
Yes, he's having a good day here for the first time in this truck.
You know how late it was in getting that team together? We talked earlier. They put the driver's seat into Wallace's truck in the parking lot of the Marriott Hotel up here in Milwaukee.
This is Rick Corelli. He's from the Denver area, running very, very steady right now.
And here is Mark Green, truck that David Green, his brother, drove last week at Nazareth, having a good run again here today in 9th position. He'll be racing tomorrow in the 250-lap NASCAR Busch race here at Milwaukee.
That's Tony Raines there in the number 19, currently 10th.
Won earlier this year at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. And there's Butch Miller. We talked of Butch earlier in the telecast. He's now in 19th spot, a lap down.
Here's Tammy Jo Kirk in the truck number 7. She also is a lap down in 20th position.
That's the 43 of Jimmy Hensley. He's been running quite well today also.
Jimmy finished third here back in 1985 in one of the great Busch Series cars of all time that Sam Ard had for him, the old Thomas Brothers car.
That's a Richard Petty truck right there, and he's run very well today.
There's the battle for the lead. Sprague's got it. Hornaday, can he get it back? Can't do it. Give Jack Sprague the lead, lap 136.
Eli Hornaday went all the way down on the flat part of the racetrack, the flattest part of the racetrack, which we call the return road there. Tried to make a move on the 24. Sprague could not make it happen.
So Hornaday leads from lap 90 through 135. Jack Sprague takes over at 136. To the garage, Jerry Glanville. He joins the list of retirees as we are still midway in the Milwaukee 200. Back, everybody, live from the Milwaukee Mile, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Jack Sprague took the lead at lap 136. We're now at lap 142, and there is the separation. Sprague is ahead there in that green truck, number 24, and Ron Hornaday, with whom we were riding moments ago, right there in second spot. So that's the interval. It is now 2 2/10 seconds back to third, and then this battle a bit further back. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Jay Sauter in the 3, Kenny Irwin in the 98, and the man we're riding with, Mike Bliss, he's currently in 6th.
They've been having a pretty good battle here for the last 10 laps. Bliss has closed in on the 4th and 5th place trucks and sort of sizing them up to see if they have any weaknesses anywhere, and maybe if they can make a pass.
Kenny Irwin said to me yesterday, said, this is a nice track. He said, I just don't like flat tracks. He said, I like bank tracks. I'm comfortable. I just don't like flat tracks. Of course, he's already won at Homestead. He's running awfully well here. So likes and dislikes. don't always translate to results because he may not like it, but he's doing well.
Well, he says he's under geared too, and there's nothing worse on a flat track not being able to accelerate like you feel like you should. But he looks like he's holding his own there.
He's doing a great job out there. Not have driven on this racetrack before.
The leaders to the stripe. The first truck a lap down has now made an unscheduled stop, and the hood goes up on Mike Cope's machine. He was running in 18th as we stay with the race leaders. There's third place, Rich Bickle. And there we ride with Rich. And what's that white knob you see right there?
Right there.
Yeah, what is
that? Is a brake adjuster. He can adjust the brakes while he's out there running. If he gets a little bit, his pedal goes away, buddy.
Okay, you see the arrow right there. If you want more front brake, all you do is kind of turn that arrow up towards the top up there. That puts more front brake on it. If you want more rear brake, you come back on the left side there. You can see he's about neutral right now. He probably has a little more front brake than he does rear. And you can see the shifting knob right there. That's a fireproof bucket that goes over there, made by Simpson, that you put right over the very top of the shifting lever to keep heat out of the truck.
Hey, we heard that he might have some trouble. How about it, Dick?
Yeah, Bickle definitely has a problem, and the problem is under the hood, Eli. He has lost a cylinder. They changed the ignition boxes, hoping that would solve it. It has not. That means it's either a plug wire, a valve spring, or some other problem for which they would need to lift the hood. They lift the hood in one of these truck races, they're in trouble because a whole bunch of other trucks are going to go right by him. Bickle, big problems.
And though he's third, he is now better than 4 seconds behind the top two. Too bad for Rich Bickle, a popular fella up here and leading the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in points. And there's the spread between first and second. Further back, that's Mike Wallace in the 52, Rick Corelli in the 6th. That's 7th and 8th place, the battle on your screen. Oh, Corelli's done well after that pit stop before they even threw the green today.
When the green fell, he was in 34th position. Yeah. So he has come up and gotten in the top 10.
They call him the High Plains Drifter. He really gets around flat racetracks. At Portland, he ran very well, and any racetrack that you go to, he is very much a factor. I feel that, well, he won at Bristol last year. Good race driver.
And again, Mike Wallace, who has won here in the NASCAR Busch Series. So even though this is only his second ever Truck Series race, the first one in a truck at this track, he has run here and won here. There's the spread from first to second with 50 laps to go, 50 miles remaining.
And will they have to make a pit stop? That we didn't really get to see how that would play out in the first half because there was a caution and everybody did come in during the caution period to put in gas.
We told you about Mike Cope. There he is, still on the pit lane. Mike, what's the problem?
They've had a meltdown in the electrical system. There's a dead short somewhere, and it has melted the wiring harness. They're trying to put jumpers across it on the ignition area to try to get him back out there. And as for fuel mileage, some of the teams were going to wait and see how many caution laps there would be in this second 100-lap segment. So far, nothing on the board. If there were a lot of caution laps, some teams might chance it. I think a lot will happen depending on what the leader does. If he comes in, I think everybody will follow.
Well, Jack Sprague is the race leader. His advantage on second place, now 1 2/10 seconds late in the Milwaukee 200. Race leader, Jack Sprague, average speed right now, 105.9 miles an hour. The record was set here a year ago by Jack Sprague at 87 miles an hour. So we are blowing that record away by virtue of only some brief caution flags here this afternoon. Now some traffic to deal with. Lonnie Rush is just ahead of Jack Sprague.
Lonnie Rush is running in 20th position, currently 2 laps down, and Terry Cook has just made a pit stop with the hood up on his truck.
Bobby Donner in that 60 truck from Chicago. Loves this racetrack, but not his day today. Bobby's in 25th, 3 laps in arrears in that number 60 of his.
There's still 16 trucks on the lead lap.
There's a good scramble further back now. You've got Mike Wallace, Rick Corelli, and a great run again for Mark Green. That is a truck that is being driven by David Green, Mark Green, and Scott Walters. They're splitting the Bruco Motorsports truck over the course of the season. And it was an 8th place finish a weekend ago for David Green. And Mark has it in 9th right now.
And Scott Walters scheduled to drive it next week in Louisville.
Right.
He has caught those 2 trucks of Pirelli and Mike Wallace. He was about a 1.5 seconds behind them, but has moved up on them.
You see 7 trucks in the garage now at the bottom of the race summary. Rick Crawford, Lance Norrick, Michael Dockin, Dave Rezendes, Randy Tolsma, then Jerry Glanville, and most recently Mike Cope. You heard Mike Joy talking about the electrical problems. They will also be joined by Terry Cook as his Pro Bowlers Tour truck is heading to the garage area to become the 8th retiree of the afternoon. There's 5th place, Irwin and Bliss.
A moment ago, it looked like there was a little smoke.
Whoa, Lou's getting in the corner there.
That'll do it.
I would smoke if I went in that hard, I'll guarantee you. Woo! Kenny Irwin Jr. was very lucky and good getting in that corner of that Lou.
You had to hang on. What I started to say, it looked like
he's got a problem, Ned.
Mike, what's the problem? What are you hearing from the pits?
I'm hearing no problem. They said Kenny has not called in and said anything that he smells any smoke or has any problem. Their concern is fuel. Kenny told us at halftime they're pulling a lower gear, they don't have the straightaway speed, and they're burning more gas. They will definitely have to stop no matter what.
That little bit of smoke that we saw a little earlier could have been, Buddy, when he went into the turns, maybe the truck leaned over and might have just touched the tire or something.
There was something definitely smoking, but he was extremely loose getting into turn 1 just a second ago. That would make a right rear smoke just a little bit.
Yeah.
There's the spread again between Sprague and Hornaday. We talked, of course, about fuel. If you were with us in Nazareth last week, fuel was a major storyline there. How about here, Dick Bergman? What are you hearing from the leaders?
The majority of the leaders are saying unequivocally that they cannot make it on the fuel that they got at the halfway break, Eli. On the other hand, in Sprague's pit, when I asked Dennis Conner, can you make it, he sort of winked at me and put his index finger and thumb almost together. They think they can almost make it. It's not quite. And of course, one of the real problems they face is they have a real powerful engine under the hood of that truck. And there's only one way to make power, and that is with fuel.
We know crew chiefs always tell the truth, too.
What's the old saying? Close don't count, except in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yep. Here's a good battle. Chuck Bound in the 99 truck and Joe Ruttman in the truck number 80. And right behind them,
Boris said we're riding with him now. That's 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Chuck's truck looks a little bit loose up there, too, in front of Ruttman. Of course, Ruttman running that close on him doesn't help the situation. But that's what Ruttman's supposed to do. If you're racing, you go up there and race him hard and try to get him loose. Ooh.
Battle for 12th. Joe had an idea. Joe's won here a couple of times, and USAC competition actually told us yesterday, if not for some bad luck, Joe Ruttman said he probably should have won 80% of the races that he's run here at Milwaukee.
Well, you know, you race your team trucks just a little bit different there. He had a chance to really make a move on Chuck Bound as they headed down. Both of them Ralph's trucks. I'm sure that Joe says, hey, I'm going to pass him if I can easy, but I'm not going to create a problem for both trucks.
And there you see the leader now beginning to close in on Roper and Said. Jack Sprague trying to put the 14th and 15th place runners a lap down, and he'll begin to do that going off into turn number 3. He's powerful, Sprague is. 33 laps from the finish in Milwaukee.
Marie is sponsored by Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
After 169 of the 200 laps, we have seen 9 lead changes among Hornaday, Sprague, and Rich Bickle. Only 4 brief cautions, and the attrition rate now up to 8 trucks in the garage area. Most recent addition to the list, Terry Cook, who has parked the PBA Tour machine after 155 laps. I'm Eli Gold with Ned Jarrett and Buddy Baker, Mike Joy, and Dr. Dick Berggren are trackside for coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Milwaukee 200. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Busch Series in the Milwaukee 250. Coverage at 1 o'clock Eastern Time right here on CBS. Jack Sprague, the race leader. He has gone around the truck on the right of your screen. Joe Ruttman putting him a lap down. It was a clean, uneventful pass. And now just 11 trucks are on the lead lap.
Yeah, Ruttman was running in 12th place, but with no cautions in this second half, and the pace that Sprague is setting, similar to the first half when they ran more than 50 laps without a caution, put a lot of good trucks down.
We are beginning to see some pit stops now as Sprague continues to circulate on the speedway. Stacy Compton elects to make a pit stop, the attention of Troy Selberg and that crew. This is at lap 174. There you see just a splash of racing fuel and on his way. So we're getting close to the finish, but close to those dry fuel tanks also.
Eli, when you're running like that, you got one eye on your fuel gauge, one eye on the racetrack. And if that thing starts to fluctuate, that means it's getting very, very low. And you can actually tell, even though there's not a fuel gauge as such in there, you do have a pressure gauge. And once it starts moving around, you have less than a half a lap to get in.
There's 4th and 5th place, the battle you're riding with now. Mike Bliss keeping Sauter in his rear view mirror. Ned, when the crew chiefs keep saying to their drivers, conserve fuel, here Tammy Jo Kirk has to come in for fuel. What can a driver do to try and conserve fuel?
Well, the biggest thing you can do, Eli, is to ease off the gas a little bit earlier than maybe you normally would going into the turn, and then get on the gas easy coming off the turn. Don't just stomp it wide open all of a sudden. That uses up a lot of fuel when you do that.
Mike, what are you hearing? How close is this going to be?
We're past close. Tammy Jo Kirk just came into the pits out of fuel. They had to push her to start. Emery Donaldson has a can of starting fluid in hand, waiting for Brian Reffner, who may be in next time by. But the question I have is Terry Cook, Dave Resendiz, and Jerry Glanville are out with blown engines. Rich Bickle and Bob Keselowski have each dropped a cylinder. Are some of these teams leaning out the motors so far for gas mileage that they're burning them up?
Mike, I think that's a very good point, and could be. If they watched what happened last week on the 1-mile track at Nazareth, there were a few trucks that were able to go a full 100 laps. Some of them might have leaned them down, hoping to do that here today, especially if there's no cautions like we've had here so far in this last segment of this race. And boy, you don't have to lean them down much. You burn those pistons and certainly burns the engine.
Again, we have been caution-free in the second half of this race. The first caution of the day didn't come out until lap 58. Then after the halftime break, we have gone clean and green since. And that's what's really muddying the waters here for these crew chiefs who are hoping maybe for a few caution laps, if nothing else. Mike Wallace up to 6th in his maiden voyage with that team. But everybody waiting and watching Sprague. 21 miles to go. Can he go?
And I'm sure he's watching. I think the critical point will come in the last 10 laps. I'm sure that he feels very comfortable that he can go at least to 90 or maybe even 95 laps. But those last ones is when he's going to be riding on pins and needles.
There's Mike Bliss. He's currently running 4th.
You hear his crew chief, Barry Dodson, in the background, wearing a wireless microphone for us today. Other pit stops. Robertson is in. Ruttman is in while we ride with Bliss.
Eli, that was a great shot there, Mike Bliss. You could see him raise his hand up and look at the fuel gauge as he was going through the corner there.
Of course, with that 17 truck not running on all cylinders, Bliss hasn't been able to run him down. Bickle in 3rd, Bliss running in 4th.
Mike Joy, you talked about Brian Reffner. He is in. And how about Mike Bliss's situation?
Bliss is coming in, and up until this point, here's Tony Raines. He is the first of the trucks to pit that is not a Ford. Raines gets gas in his Dodge, and Mark Green is out of gas. Dick Berggren?
And all up and down pit road, crew chiefs are talking to their drivers on the radios, and they are telling them conserve fuel. Meanwhile, Kenny Irvin has just coasted to a stop in his pit. Engine running, fortunately, but he does not seem to have a whole lot of fuel left in it, just enough. They took just a little splash and off he goes.
There goes Kenny Irwin. Doug George is in. They can't refire the truck for Green. They're having to push him up the pit lane until he refires, as we just watched Sprague, and now Jimmy Hensley is in. Hornaday comes in behind him. Bobby Dotter is out of fuel. There's Hornaday. Just 18 miles, now 17 miles from the finish.
Eli, I don't think anybody is going to be able to stretch the fuel all the way.
Dick Berggren.
Hornaday had run completely out of gas, stalled the truck. They got it started, it stalled again. He is going again. They ran that tank completely dry.
And he missed by 17 miles of going the distance. There's Sprague going by him.
Put him in a lap down. That's what you would hope not to do when you make this quick pit stop, as Rich Bickle comes into the pits now as we ride with him down pit road.
Just 16 miles from the finish for Bickle and his stop. Rick Corelli comes in behind him as you see Jack Sprague took the lead at lap 136. Splash of fuel and Bickle's on his way. So Sprague with Bliss in second as Boris Said is in. He'll quickly clean the grill of the truck while he takes on some fuel.
Boy, oh boy, I bet Jack Sprague's sitting there. If that thing was misfire one time, he'd probably spin out. Here, he's coming in the pit.
Jack is coming in. He couldn't get in. He couldn't get in behind the Eric Norris truck.
And that is going to cost him some time. So he slowed down. That'll cost him several seconds.
He's very wide there, getting in the corner also.
And Bickle got back in the lead lap.
Rich Bickle going by, as you see, lap 186. Here comes Jay Sauter down the pit lane. He'll make a stop. There's Mike Bliss.
Okay, now Sprague makes the turn into the pits.
Dick Berggren is in the Quaker State pit.
Sprague really didn't want to come in, but they had some conversation on the radio, decided since everybody else is, we will do. Randy Atkins, the guy on the hot seat, he's a fuel man. Boy, a couple of seconds, that's worth about a gallon and a half or two, and Sprague is out of here with a great stop.
And Mike Bliss, the number 2, being pushed by what is technically, I guess, a team truck, if you will. That's Eric Norris with his dad, Chuck Norris, looking on here in our booth. Chuck,
well,
he's helping out his buddy there.
He sure is, yeah. Well, you know, of course, Mike's in 5th place, and so, you know, and Eric's, what, in 19th?
Right, Eric moved up. Now he's in 23rd, but nevertheless, helping out Mike Bliss.
Yeah.
Mike went one lap too many out there, and that'll be very costly for him.
Yeah.
He'll come in at lap 188 now, Mike Bliss will. What's it like watching Eric out there today?
A little nerve-wracking.
I wanted you to give me some tips about that. Maybe help me out a little bit.
Well, I'd tell you what, I'd rather even do this than do the stunts on the shows. You know, he was doing a lot of car crashes and all that, so I'd rather see him out here racing for real.
And this is nothing new for him. I mean, he's been around. He's new in this series, only his 2nd race, but I guess he's been racing since the early 80s.
Yeah, actually, he raced with me in off-road racing for a few years, and then he did some other racing, and now, of course, this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to do the truck series.
Do you have any thoughts of doing this type of racing?
I don't have any time. But this series takes all my time, unfortunately.
Chuck Norris, thanks for coming by. We'll be watching you. Walker, Texas Rangers, Saturday nights, 10 p.m. here on CBS. 11 miles to go as we ride with Ron Hornaday. There is Eric Norris, of whom we spoke moments ago. He's run on the NASCAR Winston West Series. He's run other late model races out on the West Coast. Mike Bliss is in. Can he get going, Mike Joy?
He's not in. He's trying to get out, and he's dead in the water. He ran completely out of gas. As they pushed the truck down pit road, every crew tossed a can of ether to squirt down into the air intake. It coughed once. It wouldn't fire, and they're out of room to push it. They're going to have to roll him back if they can't restart it. What a heartbreaker for Mike Bliss.
Hey, guys, listen to that motor. It blew up. They put so much ether in there that just tore the motor right out.
9 miles to go.
Well, now he refires and goes.
There you see Jack Sprague.
But he got back out in the lead, even though he had to go back around that one extra lap. Cost him some time, but the fact that Ron Hornaday had taken some extra time when he was in the pits, that gave him some extra time.
You see Mike Bliss is out in 22nd now, buddy.
Yeah, but he's just barely getting around the racetrack. He's going very slow around the bottom of the racetrack.
8 miles to go, Dick Berggren.
Blitz's real problem was indeed the engine was silent at the end of pit road, but the way they've got the carburetors configured on these trucks, we got a caution on the speedway. It's hard to get the ether in, so Jimmy Smith was to shoot the ether right up the nose of it, and finally it worked, and he got it fired up, and it was a long struggle to get that truck going.
There is debris on the speedway in turn number 1, so caution is out. It'll fly at lap 193. Now remember, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series races cannot end under caution. We will have a green flag, a white flag, and then a checker to come down the stretch if we get to lap 200 still under the caution. But this is for debris out in turn number 1. Caution for the 5th time this afternoon.
And Eli, this was a break for Jimmy Hensley, who is currently being shown in the 8th position, and he was just right in front of Jack Sprague when the caution came out. So he gets to go all the way around the track.
Listening in down on the pit lane, there's Jimmy Hensley, of whom we were moments ago.
I told him on radio, I said, this is the stupidest rule I have ever.
A lot of emotions down on the pit lane here in the waning miles of the Milwaukee 200.
Just stayed out there a lap too long, Mike Bliss did. We ride with him here now.
Don't forget tomorrow, Ken Squire, Mike Joy, and the rest of the crew with the Milwaukee 250, the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series, 1 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow. And then looking ahead, upcoming here on CBS Sports next Saturday, from Louisville, Kentucky, the Louisville 225 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. From there, it's on to Erie, Colorado, and the Colorado 250 on July the 19th, 3:30 Eastern Time. A lot of racing in July. That's going to be fun right there, Ned. The inaugural Gateway 300, the brand new track in the St. Louis area. NASCAR Busch Series race.
We look forward to seeing the Busch cars on that brand new speedway.
And the Indy Racing League at Charlotte Motor Speedway, going 500 kilometers. July 27th, you'll see it at 1 o'clock Eastern Time.
Eli, you can see Bliss move over on the inside there. Let everyone go by this running well, because he does have a problem with this number 2 truck.
Don't forget, coming up next, 3rd round coverage of the Motorola Western Open from Cog Hill Golf and Country Club in Lamont, Illinois. That is coming up as soon as we move aside from the Milwaukee Mile. And don't forget, stay on the fast track with CBS Sportsline, because today at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, you can chat with CBS racing analyst Ned Jarrett. He is not on the on-ramp of the information superhighway. He is there. And he'll be breaking down today's truck race and looking ahead to tomorrow's Milwaukee 250. And all of that is at that computer address you see, cbs.sportsline.com. Let's go back to Dick Berggren on pit road.
Anytime there's a panic stop, there's usually some drama accompanied with it, and we have just seen a whole pile of panic stops. The drama is with truck number 16, Ron Hornaday. They got about 4 gallons, 4.5 gallons in that truck. They do not know, however, if that was enough to go all the way. And as much as they'd like to run Sprague down and just blow him off, they've also got to conserve fuel, because they don't know if they've got enough to go to the end, Eli.
Well, we will find out together. It'll be 4 miles, 4 laps to go when they get to the stripe, and they will be getting the green flag this time by. Inside of 10 laps remaining in a NASCAR race, there is a 10-lap rule, which means only the trucks on the lead lap can start behind the pace car, and then only in single file. And this is a rule that was put in a few years ago, Ned, and has been met with universal acceptance.
Yes, it has, but that did mean that all of those 8 trucks that are in the lead lap are right up there, bumper to bumper now, as they come off the turn 4 to get the green flag. We're back racing.
Let's see whether Sprague can hang with Hornaday, who is so strong on the restarts. Jack, the leader.
You can see Hornaday trying to make a move on the outside. No good. You see Sprague get back in the throttle. You can actually see the black marks as he mashes down on the 24 truck there, coming off the corner, really lighting the rear tires up.
Sprague, Hornaday, Sauter, Bickle, Corelli, Raines, Wallace, Hensley, Ruttman, in that order. And those are the only trucks. Hensley being the last one in 8th spot on the lead lap.
Whoa, a little defensive driving there. You see Hornaday trying to get under Sprague going into turn 1. Could not make it work. Now he does.
The power move, but Sprague takes away the inside groove, but Hornaday hangs with him going on the back straightaway.
He'll have the inside groove. That's where he wants to be going into turn 3. Let's see what happens.
Well, I can tell you what's going to happen here. Sprague's in a bad spot there on the outside. He's going to drop several positions.
Sauter goes by with Hornaday taking the lead as well. 2 miles, 2 laps to go. Ron Hornaday.
Boy, he'd like to see those trucks racing side by side back there behind him.
With 2 laps to go, you can see right now they're double file behind, not having a clean run off. Hornaday is building up a lead.
Hornaday, who has won in Tucson and has won in Bristol, Tennessee already this year. Hoping the fuel hangs on for the distance. Lindy looking on. Ron Hornaday's wife down on the pit lane. White flag is in the air. 1 mile to go. Ron Hornaday.
And Sauter finally gets by.
He's in second. Bickle is third now.
Yeah. Sprague got on the outside and is losing position. Might lose another one to Rick Corelli here on this last lap.
Turn 3. Turn 4. Well, they got enough fuel in that Napa Brakes truck. Checkered flag. Ron Hornaday outlasts them all in the Milwaukee 200. Sauter is second. Strong run for Bickle third, with Sprague, Corelli, Wallace, and Raines next in line across the stripe. A lot of smiles, and they're breathing again down in the Hornaday pit. How about it?
What a move.
How about it?
I'm going to tell you, with 10 laps to go, I don't know anybody any better than Ron Hornaday.
Mike Joy, how about it? And held out for the win.
As he came to the checkered flag, Ron Hornaday keyed the radio, and he said, "You guys are the most awesome crew I have ever had. To build a complete new truck in 3 days and take it all the way to victory lane is unbelievable." That was what he said.
Ron Hornaday, who is now signed with that team through the year 2000, is heading to victory lane. We'll be there with him in a moment. It is all over for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here in Milwaukee. 13 career wins now for Ron Hornaday. Let's go to victory lane. Mike?
What a way to get here in a brand new truck that was built in 3 days. Ron Hornaday Jr. picks up his 3rd win of the year. I heard what you said, and I told the folks at home what you said to the crew as you came around for the flag.
I don't even remember what that
I know
said.
you can't believe you're standing here. Uh-oh.
Oh, I can. That was the coldest one this year, but I'll take it.
It is. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
What a run.
I tell you what, these guys are awesome for what they did. Everybody at the body shop, everybody on the surface plate back at the shop, get this truck last Monday to get it painted, to get it done. And these guys got it Monday morning to get it done, to bring it here on Wednesday. What a team. Napa Brakes, Action Collectibles are #1 in diecast. Burger King, Goodyear tires. Awesome.
Hey,
100 lap, but we had one stupid yellow.
But you worked hard on Jack Sprague, and he said he would have done the same to you. It was good, clean, hard racing.
I didn't touch him other than he got sideways, drove alongside him, and that was just racing back and forth. But we needed that yellow. I was trying to save the gas. I knew we weren't getting better mileage, and we just kept on backpedaling, and I figured we were going to have a yellow, and I can catch Jackie. And I said, man, we didn't have a yellow. I'm going to have to drive this thing to catch him. But Dale, Teresa, thanks for having faith in me. Everybody, hi, Mom, Dad. I just want to get home and watch Steve Park and on TV tomorrow, and hopefully he can do the same thing.
Well, we'll have that Busch race for you tomorrow. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Mike, thank you. Meanwhile, a few moments ago, Jack Sprague spent a moment with Dick Berggren, and Jack was not a happy man. Let's listen in.
They throw a caution for no reason. I've had enough. Get a good pit stop and they throw a caution.
Good run until very end there. What happened with you and Hornaday at the end?
Well, he gets right up on you, gets you loose. It ain't his fault. I was doing the same thing to him. It's just the point is the caution never should have came out. There was no reason for it.
Hey, that's Jack Sprague. He's not happy tonight, for sure.
So, this one is in the books. Jack Sprague heading to the hauler. Ron Hornaday's in victory lane, and we'll be right back.
NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is sponsored by the Ford F-150. Strength after strength after strength. Sears DieHard. And by Econo Lodge. Spend a night, not a fortune, at Econo Lodge.
We're back with you at the Milwaukee Mile. Coming up next, the Motorola Western Open third round coverage that is coming your way in just a moment or so. Let's take a look at the top finishers here today in the Milwaukee 200. Good run for Corelli. How about it, guys? Coming up from 6th after all those brake problems early.
Almost passed Jack Sprague there at the end for 4th.
Next group of finishers, Tony Raines, who won earlier this year. Boris Said, another strong run. Chuck Bowen, a top 10, and only his second visit here. Kenny Irwin, the series rookie point leader. He comes home 15th, and Lonnie Rush Jr. in 18th. A good run for him. Now, what does it all mean as far as points are concerned? Well, Rich Bickle's lead now 49 over Jack Sprague. It spreads just a bit, and there you see the remainder of the top 6 as it winds down here in Milwaukee. So that's going to do it. We will have coverage tomorrow of the NASCAR Busch Series in Milwaukee 250 coming your way at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. For Ned Jarrett, Buddy Baker, Mike Joy, and Dick Berggren, I'm Eli Gold saying so long from the Milwaukee Mile, where Ron Hornaday has won the 1997 Milwaukee 200. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the Daytona 500.